Today, what I want to talk about is what I believe happens to be the 5 best credit card payoff tactics. So stay tuned. My name is Jay, and welcome to Ask a Debt Collector, a subsidiary of Clear and Strategic. Now, I've been in the debt collection industry for over 15 years. I've done it all, from management to owning 2 debt collection agencies. For the past 10 years, I've been the go-to guy for friends and family for questions regarding debt and credit, and now I want to be that person for you. If you have any questions, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. For those of you who are new to this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's go. Okay, so I decided to talk about this topic mainly because over the course of having this credit restoration business, I've come across clients every once in a while where they have accounts that have not been in collections. And for the most part, for credit repair, what we're doing is we're looking at your credit profile. We're looking at accounts that either you've had late payments on or that have been sent to collections or charged off that you want off of your credit profile. Unfortunately, I come across a lot of clients who currently have, maybe 3 or 4 credit cards that are maxed out. They're still paying the original creditor, and they're trying to figure out how to get out of that debt in general, right? It hasn't gone to collections. In a lot of cases, they don't even have any late payments or whatnot on their credit profile. They're paying the bare minimum, but they know eventually things are going to get tough, and they're going to need to figure out how to pay these cards off. Another reason why I want to talk about this topic is this. With inflation growing, one of the things you have to understand is those of you who have been responsible with your credit, a lot of times you may find yourself having to go past what you actually have in the bank, right? The reality is, I always say use your debit cards like credit cards, only spend what you have in the bank. But with inflation and everything that is transpiring, those of you who have cards that you do have at a low utilization, you may have to use some of that utilization up. A lot of times, all you hear is keep your utilization at 30% or lower. There are cases and situations where it makes sense where you may have to use your credit to tackle a few things that you may not have money for, right? And so if in fact you find yourself maxing out your credit cards and you're trying to figure out how to get back down to the 30% utilization, 10% to 0% utilization, here are what I believe are the best 5 credit card payoff tactics. So let's get right into it. Number 1, ask for a lump sum settlement. I know a lot of you guys out there like, what? If you have a credit card of $3,000, you're paying that maximum balance, and the interest is probably high. Maybe you owe a lot on it with regards to it. You've gotten over. Ask for a lump sum settlement. It never hurts to do so. The reality is, one of the most precious things that I believe almost a lot of people, especially people who are in a little bit of dire need with regards to money, is taxes, right? Once your taxes come, those of you who have dependents, you can get, a lot of you guys are getting anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 on your tax returns. I've seen so many people take that money and use it for stuff that does not help you, i.e. buying some type of used car that ends up breaking down in like 6 months, or buying a bunch of stuff that you just don't need, clothes for the kids and outfits and a bunch of luxuries that you just don't need. The reality is, with your tax money, especially with asking for that lump sum settlement, you're going to get $3,000 to $10,000, a lot of you guys. You may have these credit cards that are maxed out. Call up your credit card company. Let them know that you have a certain amount of money with regards to trying to settle out the account. And a lot of times the credit card companies are more willing to do that with you than getting that bare minimum payment, or the event of you not actually paying at all. So that's the number 1 tactic. Number 2, ask for a reduction in your interest rate. A lot of times when your credit cards are maxed out, a lot of times when you call the creditor, I always tell people, it never hurts to ask. Don't be scared. It's almost like when you're a kid, and you're trying to ask your mom to go to some party and maybe she turns you down a couple of times. If you don't ask, the answer is going to always be no. If you do ask, You never know what may be transpiring. A lot of times when you call in these credit card companies, they are trying to figure out, especially in this time span, ways to keep you as a consumer and lower your interest rates on your credit cards. Call them up, ask them to lower those interest rates. A lot of times you can use a tactic of saying another credit card company is willing to offer this. I want to stay with you guys. I like you guys, but can you guys work out something with regards to this interest rate? I know that it's sort of kind of a shot in the dark, but it never hurts to ask. If you don't ask, the answer is no. So always remember that. Number 3, balance transfer. Right? There are a lot of credit cards out there that'll give you a balance transfer and a 0 introductory rate for a year. If you have a credit card with a 15% interest rate, you can transfer that balance to a 0% interest rate over the year, therefore saving you that 15% of interest on that credit card and giving you a little bit more time to actually pay the card off. Now, one of the things I want to warn you guys with regards to this is the numbers have to make sense. If you're doing a balance transfer on a credit card that's going to charge you a large fee to transfer the money, as well as maybe that credit card may have an annual fee, then you have to look at those numbers and make sure the numbers make sense with regards to everything that is happening. If it in fact makes sense, that balance transfer is a great tool to help you save on a lot of interest, therefore saving you money. And then that credit card that you actually had at the time will have a 0 balance on there, and depending on what you plan on doing with that can help you out tremendously with regards to paying off your credit cards. Now, if you like the information that I'm giving you, be sure to smash that like button. If you're brand new to this YouTube channel, be sure to like and subscribe. And as you guys can see, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. Thank each and every one of you guys who have subscribed, who've liked the video and shared the video. And you guys ultimately be great. Let's get into the 4th one. Debt avalanche. Now, I know a lot of you guys have heard of what a debt avalanche is. For those of you who don't know, what it is basically you're looking at all of your credit cards, right? And you want to look at the highest interest rate credit cards that you have that's actually maxed out. Chances are at this time span you have maybe 3 or 4 credit cards that are maxed out. You look at the highest interest rate credit card. What you do is you pay the most amount that you can pay on that balance. On the other credit cards, you just pay the minimum balance, right? And you keep on paying that high interest rate card until it's paid off. Once you had a 0 balance, then you switch to the next card. And now that avalanche starts building up because you were paying the bare minimum on one of the on those other cards. You can subtract that, add that bare minimum payment that you were paying to that other credit card that you paid off, and then you continue to do that until you get to the lowest interest rate. This way, across the board, you save yourself some interest with regards to the card and the interest rates on these cards. As we all know, when you look at that statement, if you're paying the minimum payment, a lot of times, depending on how high your balance is, it'll give you how long it's going to take you to pay it. Sometimes it's 10, 15, 20 years on some of this stuff. And a lot of it is because of the balance and the interest rate. So if you can tackle the larger interest rate credit cards first, pay those off, and then in the avalanche work your way up to the lowest interest rate credit card, eventually you'll have a large amount of money when you get to that last credit card, and you can pay it off even sooner. But paying off the higher interest rates is going to save you interest in general, and you work your way all the way up to the lower interest rate credit card. That is another way in order to do that. Now, for those of you who may be struggling with credit in general, if you're in the 4s, the 5s, or 6s, and you want to get into the 700 club, with inflation happening and so forth, credit cards are going to be one of those #1 ways to hedge that interest, right, with regards to inflation in general. And the better credit score that you have, the better interest rates and so forth you'll get across the board with regards to everything, as well as tactics with regards to the points that you can get with these credit cards to, in return, save yourself money. Sign up for a 20-minute free consultation. The link is down below. Sign up. Why wait? Why hesitate? Let's get your credit right during this time span so that way you're in position to do the things that you need to do for yourself and your family. And then the 5th and final way to pay off your credit cards, a great tactic to do so, is the debt snowball effect, right? This one is different from the avalanche, right? With the snowball, what you're doing is you're starting with your lowest credit card balance. And you're going to put the most amount of money that you can in that while paying the other cards, the balance at low. And then once you pay off that low balance and hopefully you have a bigger chunk, you can pay that second one and so on and so forth. And what happens is like a snowball, when you're rolling it down a hill, it gathers more and more snow. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And once you get to that large account that you may have with the highest balance, once you get there, because you've been doing this snowball effect, you'll have a large lump sum payment with regards to paying off that credit card and getting them down to a zero utilization. Understand, once these credit cards are paid down to a zero utilization, it's like a restart for yourself. Use the credit cards like debit cards. Ask for credit increases on these credit cards and be responsible, right? No more buying luxuries. Only take care of bills that you have money in the bank to take care of it. I can't stress to you the importance of that, because that will save you a lot of interest, a lot of heartache, and a lot of stress with regards to credit cards in general. If you use them the correct way, you will love credit cards. I love them. Now, if you have any questions about credit or debt, put them down in the comment section. I promise I'll answer those questions. As I always state, you be great.